Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I got some big news for you because OpenAI just released three new models, GPT 4.1, 4.1 mini, and their first ever nano model, 4.1 nano. I'm going to be showing you all the benchmarks and I'm going to show you why this model, in my opinion, is the best model for building AI agents. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, why do I think that it's the best model for building AI agents, especially with all these new models coming out? Well, this model specifically focuses on some factors that are very important for building AI agents, and those being latency. It's very, very fast. It's an extremely fast model. Second of all, and I think this one's the most important, it's extremely good at following instructions. OpenAI has put a lot of focus into improving this heavily. And third of all, they have improved its function calling capabilities. So its ability to call different tools. And obviously, when building AI agents, this is a key factor, the ability for the LLM to call different tools. So these three factors have all been significantly improved with their brand new GPT 4.1 model, which, by the way, is the improved version of their 4.0 model. Now I'm going to be walking you through all the different benchmarks and just expanding on the points I have mentioned. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be building an AI agent in n8n using the brand new 4.1 model. Now, without further ado, let's begin. First of all, we have this very, very important chart. I think it's the most important chart. This chart shows you the latency to intelligence. Now, I'm going to start from the top. We obviously can see that 4.1, for the exact same amount of latency, is smarter than 4.0, which is, of course, really good. We can never say no to some extra intelligence without increasing the latency, like what they do with reasoning models. Now, this is probably going to be the most common thing that people use when building AI agents because it's the perfect mix between getting that high amount of intelligence. As you guys can see, it's much more intelligent than 4.0 mini while having slightly more latency, but it is slightly higher in latency, but I think the extreme increase in intelligence is definitely worth it. And then finally, we have OpenAI's first nano model, GPT 4.1. This one, alongside with being their first nano model, is actually their fastest model, has the lowest latency out of any OpenAI model, but it is the least intelligent out of all of them. Obviously, there is a trade-off that needs to be made, but there's definitely a use for the 4.1 nano for tasks that just need to be done extremely quickly and require a low amount of intelligence. Now I'm going to move on to the next chart, which I think is very, very important. Now here we have the coding section, which I'm not going to go over because in my opinion, this time around, their coding models are not really anything too special, especially with Gemini 2.5 Pro coming out, Claude 3.7 Sonnet. It really does not do anything too significant. It's just the average compared to the rest. Definitely an improvement over 4.0, as you guys can see in this first chart, but definitely nothing to brag about. I'm going to put a picture on the screen right now, which compares the coding capabilities of 4.1 with other models like Gemini 2.5 Pro and Claude, but nothing too crazy. This is why I specified that this model is really important for building AI agents, but honestly for coding, nothing too impressive. Its strengths lie more in like different areas, like the one I'm about to mention right here, because we reached the instruction following section. Now, this one I think is the most impressive one because it literally highlights all the problems we had with previous LLMs when building AI agents and prompting AI agents. Just starting over here, GPT 4.1 follows instructions more reliably, and we've measured significant improvements across a variety of instruction following evals. And then here they gave us some bullet points of what exactly they improved. First of all, format following. As you guys know, when we build AI agents, mostly when we're dealing with the knowledge-based side of things, we tend to convert things to markdown format because it just increases the efficiency of the LLM because the LLM is much more comfortable reading things that are in markdown format compared to just natural language like what we see on the page right now. So when we scrape websites or when we have large documents, we always tend to convert them to markdown format. Now, ChatGPT 4.1 is more proficient in following instructions and following instructions from those formats. Now, the second one is negative instructions. Now, this one is also very important because, as you guys know, when prompting AI agents, we always, somewhere in the prompt, tell the agent what not to do. For example, here, they gave us don't ask the user to contact support. Now, when prompting AI agents, it's very important to mention things like that because LLMs in general have the tendency to be extremely positive and just say yes to everything. So now, when you put the don'ts, it will follow them better with this new update. The third thing they improved is ordered instructions. So as they say here, providing a set of instructions, the model must follow in a given order. And then they give an example, first ask for their name and then ask for their email. So now when you give it instructions of what to do first, second, and third, it will follow those instructions much, much better, which is definitely another positive improvement. Now we have content requirements. And as they say here, outputting content that includes certain information. So in the example they gave you, always include the amount of protein when writing a nutrition plan. So in this one, they mean, let's say you're building some sort of agent and this agent, you try to make it clear to it that you want it to include certain information with every single output. Now it's going to be better at doing that. So for example, use specific phrases, call this person by that name, things like that. Things that you've set in place for the agent or the LLM to constantly repeat and include in each output. The fifth one they gave here is ranking, which is the ability for the LLM to sort things in a specific way. And the example here is sort the response by population count. Now for the final one, and probably one of the most important ones, is overconfidence. We all know that LLMs are extremely overconfident. For example, I'm just going to read it to you. Instructing the model to say, I don't know, or similar if requested information is not available. This one, I cannot stress enough how important this is for prompting AI agents and giving instructions to AI agents. We always need to nearly beg the AI to just say, I don't know, because LLMs think that they always know, even if it's at the cost of giving complete nonsense information or making up complete nonsense. It will do it just because it doesn't want to say, I do not know, or your request doesn't fall in a given category, or this information isn't available. So now they've improved its capability to just say, I do not know. I can't stress how important this is for us when we are dealing with, for example, let's say you're an AI automation agency and you are building a customer service AI agent for them. It is very important that that customer service agent does not make up information about your client. For example, made up prices, made up locations, and stuff like that. So with this model, they have made improvements to that drawback of LLMs. Now they've gave us a bunch of charts, and as you guys can see, it is a large improvement from 4.0, nearly a 20% improvement. I will not be looking at the reasoning models because it just does not make sense for me to compare a reasoning model to a non-reasoning faster model. So I'm just going to be ignoring that. Another thing I want to look at is the miniature version of the 4.1 model, because here at the bottom, they compare 4.1 mini, nano, and 4.0 mini. And as you guys can see, 4.1 mini is much better than 4.0 mini, which a lot of people were using previously. And 4.1 nano is even better than 4.0 mini, which is obviously a very good sign. They have really improved the instruction following related benchmarks. Another one you can see here, amazing. 4.1 mini nearly performing as well as 4.1. Another one over here. You guys can dig deeper into these. I'll put the link to this page in the description where you can read all these details if you want to. Now we reach the context section. This is very important and I did not mention it earlier, but in all the previous models, they have had around 100,000 tokens of context, but now they have 10x that, and now it's a million tokens of context. Now, this means that you are able to provide the LLM with so much more information, for example, long context, large code bases, and long documents, and it will be able to retrieve information from those documents much, much better. This is obviously very important because we expect our agents to extract accurate information, especially when we give it very long context files. Now we reach this chart, which is actually a very important one, which is the classic needle in a haystack accuracy chart. So in this chart, 4.1 performed 100 out of 100. It was able to successfully retrieve any information that was asked for it to retrieve. So it is 100% accurate in its ability to retrieve, no matter from how long the text you give it is. And here they just explain more and expand on it. And this chart just represents, again, the large context window that this LLM has, or these groups of models have, as you guys can see. Before, all the previous models were stuck at this 128,000 tokens, but now we're on a million. Now to show you some real world examples, and then here there's the vision. It has improved vision. So if you're dealing with some sort of workflow where there is some sort of image analysis, that has improved. And there also improved the LLM's ability to consume videos, where in this test they gave it a 30 to 60 minute long video, and as they say here, 4.1 was able to achieve state-of-the-art performance, where it scored 72% compared to 65.3 from 4.0. And then here we reach pricing, another really important one. Here you can have a look at the prices. Nano is extremely, extremely cheap. And then 4.1 mini for the performance, I think, has amazing pricing. It is honestly close to performance compared to 4.1, while being more than half, while being so much cheaper, which is obviously very nice. So here you can take a look at the pricing. I think it's pretty competitive pricing. And then here they give you the conclusion and then some extra charts. This one, for example, shows the general intelligence. So we have academic knowledge, the coding evals. In the academic knowledge, when compared to 4.0, nearly 3x. The instruction following also nearly double, but not quite. Even the nano model here performs better. And then the long context evaluations also performs so much better. Obviously, even better than all the previous reasoning models because of that larger context window of a million tokens. You guys can see literally 4.1 nano is better than O3 mini. Then the vision evaluations, 4.1 doing even better than the reasoning models. And then here, another very important one, which is the last one I really want to bring attention to, because this one is the function calling evaluation. So this is the ability of the LLM to call certain functions. Obviously, this is a main aspect of creating an AI agent, is its ability to call different tools like, let's say, Airtable, Gmail, SERP AI, Brave API, stuff like that. This chart shows how good it is at calling these different functions. Now, to start off, I guess never put GPT 4.1 as the main brains of your AI agent, because it does not do good in the function calling evaluations. But 4.1 does actually extremely well when compared to 4.0. For example, in this one, it does seem to do a bit worse, but it's very minute. Probably if they tested it a bit more, it will pretty much be equal. And then here, there's like a 7% increase here, and there's an 8% increase here. Now for 4.1 mini and 4.0 mini, it performs roughly 10% better in nearly all of them, which is good. Now, this wraps it up for what the 4.1 models are and what are their strengths and weaknesses. Now, let's get to building an AI agent with this model. Right now, I have an 8N here. I have self-hosted it with Docker. I could make another video about it if you guys are interested. But actually, before setting up the AI agent, I just want to talk to you guys about the brand new community I just launched literally today. This is the first time I announce it. This community is AI infrastructure. And I promise, guys, I don't want to talk about it too much. But if you are interested, click the link down below and learn what it is. And hopefully you'll be intrigued enough to join the community because there are only 50 spots left. So you gotta act quick because after the 50 spots are gone, it's gonna start costing money. But trust me, this community is nothing like you've ever seen. I use the Whoop platform to create it, which really gives you a variety of different options for customizing the community compared to something like School. Really, really cool. I'm not gonna blabber on it too much. I'm just gonna get back to the video. Now, putting that aside, we can now start building the AI agent. So obviously, let's start with the trigger. So I'm gonna put a chat trigger. You can just leave it there. So now we have a little chat box. Now I'm gonna add an AI agent. Now this agent is going to be connected to a model. And this model is going to be the OpenAI model. And now, once we're inside of here, I'm going to select the model I want to use, which is obviously 4.1. Let's go here. Now, memory. Let's just put simple memory. Doesn't need to really be adjusted. And then for the tool, I do not have, on the self-hosted version, I do not really have any APIs connected right now, except the SERP API, so I'm just going to put that one. But you can go as crazy as you want, connect all your emails and stuff. But this is just a quick representation of what this is, and I don't want to waste too much time on it. This is not very like a super advanced build tutorial or anything. Now, I'm going to open the chat, and I'm going to write hi. As you guys can see, the AI agent has went, called the model, and it has replied to me. And there you go. You have your first little AI agent over here. You can obviously go in here, change this to define below, and then here set the prompt and the instructions for your AI agents, which we obviously talked about how it improved so much. So now when you type in the prompt here, your long defined prompt, it will better follow the instructions that you provided it inside of the prompt, and also its capability of calling the different tools that you remember the last chart I showed you, its ability to call different tools. So let's say you have some sort of Supabase, and then let's say you have an Airtable one. It will be able to better choose between which one of these to go to and interact with. And that's about it for the improvements. I'm very, very impressed with OpenAI and their new model. And again, go down below, click the link and explore this new community. And then come back here and give me your feedback on what you think about it. And that's it from me, guys. Thank you. Bye.